Hey, Crosswatchers. I had to start the video over again because the last one I said hey Taurus, and I was like, no, everyone's gonna get confused. Even when I make a mistake and I say it and then I'll correct myself in the video, I'll still get 1,000 comments like, is this video for this sign or for this sign? Why'd you say that sign? So this is for Crosswatchers of Taurus, okay? We're gonna connect and see what messages are coming up for you. Those of you who have had private readings with me, you've heard me say this to you before. I don't do any kind of like psychic quote unquote spying because I do connect with the archangels. So I have certain rules I have to follow. I know it's tempting, but even for me, like if I'm dating someone or if I'm into someone, I don't like bust out the cards and try to get into their dirty laundry because I think that's bad karma. But I will always ask what you need to know to protect yourself. And I will always ask what is in that person's best interest for you to know. Like what helps them by you knowing certain things about their situation. So anytime I do any kind of cross watcher stuff or looking in on someone, it's always with the intention of what is in the best and highest good for everybody, right? I want to keep it high vibe. So first we're going to see what's coming up for you, my dears. As for as what is going on in Taurus's life? What does Crosswatcher need to know about what's going on in Taurus's life? What does Crosswatcher need to know about what Taurus is going on in Taurus's life? What's going on in Taurus's life? All right, I'm getting the number 7. So you're Taurus. And you know what's crazy? Oh my goodness. Last week's Taurus video, I feel like it came up, if I'm not mistaken. I think it came up in last week's Taurus video that a lot of Tauruses were getting more in touch with their intuition, or like they were being encouraged to listen to their intuition. And as I'm connecting with Taurus energy, now I got it again, 7. When 7 comes up in my readings, it's like Spirit saying that there's something here with intuition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like to listen to the intuition, or intuition is strengthening. Okay, so, ooh, you have the Justice card for Taurus. Okay, so a lot of you Taurus cross watchers may be dealing with a Taurus who's trying to get out of a karmic cycle. Okay, for me, when I see the Justice card, it could be legal issues, it could be court cases also. Again, disclaimer, my darlings, I'm more than happy to do private readings for you, but I don't read upon legal issues. I'm not an attorney, and I'm not gonna, like, pull out cards and look into legal matters. But with the Justice card coming up, a lot of the times it can indicate something is happening here for your Taurus, where they're either dealing with a court case or they're about to go into a court case. Okay, it can also be karmic contracts. It doesn't necessarily have to be something in the court. Maybe they're trying to like get out of a toxic situation. Maybe they're trying to prepare for a divorce. Maybe they're trying to prepare for just protecting themselves in some way legally. Okay, but the feeling that I'm getting, like what's jumping out at me as I'm looking at this, like you see how he's all suited up. Like he's got, I'm assuming it's chainmail under there, but there's like that thing around the head and the body, like under the robe. I feel like some of you are dealing with a Taurus who is about to get, like, it's go time. It is just friggin' go time for Taurus. So if you have a situation where you're dating a Taurus, or you're already currently dealing with a Taurus, like they're dealing with you, there's nobody else in this scenario, or there's nobody who you feel like is holding Taurus back, and it's just you guys one on one. I would say be prepared because your Taurus may be a little fed up. Your Taurus may, in some ways, feel that things are out of balance or not being fair, or you're not understanding them, or you're not hearing them. And they may be getting ready to just kind of lay down the law. Okay, like they may be getting ready just to say, look, like this situation is not fair. I'm doing this and this and this and this and this, and you're doing that and that and that and that, and like we need to talk about this. So if you're directly dealing with a Taurus, right, and there's like, it's not like a third party situation, it's not like other factors, if it's just the situation is you and Taurus, Taurus may feel like things are not fair. Okay, so you may already have been getting a little bit of like passive aggressive behavior from them. Like maybe they give you the silent treatment, or they give you some kind of backhanded compliment, or whatever it might be. Like they're coming to this time where they want to talk, right? But they're not coming at you in a way where they, like, I don't think they want to like fight. I don't think they want drama. I just think they want a decision to be made. They want a decision to be made, and they want the terms of it to be clear. They want the rules to be clear. So they might feel like maybe this is a situation where there's a different set of rules. And you might be annoyed hearing that, Crosswatcher, because you might be like, what? Taurus is the one who's doing this, or Taurus is the one who's doing that. Um, you all may have some things to talk about. For those of you who are waiting upon a Taurus, they might be having to end something. Like I said, they may be suiting up right now. Like maybe they're not taking action just yet, but mentally they're preparing themselves for how they're gonna get out of it, or how they're gonna move forward in a situation. How they're going to deal with the next steps. I am hearing strategy, brilliant strategy, brilliant strategy. So some of you may be dealing with a Taurus that has a very, very high IQ. Um, I have a Taurus moon, but I would not say I have a high IQ. I'm not a stupid person, but I don't know that I'm like a master at strategy. But some of you are dealing with a person who's just coming up with a very master, foolproof armor strategy. Like it's not gonna be able to be disputed, or they're not gonna be able to, like, okay, in other words, this is what I want to say. Some of you may be dealing with a Taurus who maybe you have a history with, where you're waiting for them to get over something, or you're waiting for them to get out of something, and they just, it's been a few times now, and they've like tried to hop the fence and they haven't quite made it. Something is different this time around, where they're busting through. Like they have a strategy this time, they have the courage this time. They're figuring out how to get the tools that they need to make this happen. um, like it's go time. It's go time. For other ones of you who are dealing with a Taurus, I'm gonna say, or you're already dealing with a Taurus, you all are already in a relationship, like you've been together for a while, or you live together, or you're married, or you're engaged, or siblings, or family, or business partners, or whatever it might be, even if it's non-romantic. Um, they might be coming at you with a foolproof argument. Like you might be getting a little bit blindsided here, and they might be saying things that you didn't even realize. That you didn't even realize. So if you care about the relationship and you want it to go well and you want it to work, Crosswatcher, I'm not saying this from a place of judgment. I'm just saying this might be a good time to do a little trip down memory lane and really think and do some self-evaluation. Like me, okay, there were times that I was hurt by Taurus. Like maybe Taurus hurt me or offended me. What did I do back? What did I do back? And did they realize that they had hurt me and I was behaving that way? Because you may have done things out of hurt feelings, or you may have done things out of frustration, or said things, and they may have not known that they had hurt you. And I know sometimes, like, we're like, well, Taurus should have known, but people don't always pick up on the same things, or people always aren't offended by the same things as we are. So, just think if there might be any situation in which maybe Taurus felt like, you've been unfair to them. One thing I want to say, this happens a lot, guys, on the channel. I get this for Taurus and I get this for Scorpio. People want to come on and like, say really mean things about the sign. I don't tolerate sign bashing on this channel. So if you all start with that, I'm more than happy to just kind of block you from the channel, because I don't want people coming with negativity. There are high vibrational sign, in each sign, and there's low vibration in each sign. And I'm sorry that if you had a low vibrational situation, but know that I'm sending you healing, but I can't allow for the spread of negativity. So I just want to put that out there as well. um Next you have 8 of rods or eight of wands coming up. So this is communication. Taurus is getting ready to speak. Okay, Taurus is getting ready to speak, and they're getting ready to make something happen. They're getting ready to make something happen. Now, the Eight of Rods can be kind of seen as cards having to do, or just the rods in general, are cards having to do with passion, are cards having to do with communication, with action. Some of you may have a Taurus who's coming in really hot and really heavy. Like you may just have them in full on bull mode, right? Like they've suited up their armor. They know what they want and they're going for it, and they feel like in some ways they're entitled in some way. All right? So some of you might have somebody who's coming back to try to reconcile with you, like to try to just set down the law, set down the rules, and like they just want to get back to it and they want to kiss and make up real fast. Um, some of you have a Taurus who's getting out of a really bad situation and they're ready to move forward with you very, very quickly. Okay, so if it's a business situation or family situation, they're wanting to have a talk. They're wanting to talk, they're wanting to communicate. But if it's a romantic situation, they're wanting to talk and they're wanting to communicate, but they're also in a hurry to maybe, get into bed, is what this feels like to me. Okay, and they might feel, some of you are dealing with a Taurus who maybe like they're calling you out because maybe there's been some talk for a while, and maybe you guys have been going back and forth for a while, and they might feel like maybe you're teasing them or you're leading them on. So especially if you're in a situation where maybe like you've been wanting to, quote unquote, be good, or if you've been wanting to wait, or take things slow physically. Some of you are dealing with a Taurus who feels a little bit like turned on or a little bit played with, so they might be kind of like, well, you need to, like you're saying all this stuff, like you're saying one thing and maybe doing another, so they might be wanting to seal the deal. Some of you have a Taurus who's like really eager to seal the deal with you. We've got 10 of cups. So your next intention here is like, well, what's this person's intention? Are they just trying to play around and nothing else? Or like what? 10 of cups tells us that they do want a happy life. They do want a stability. Okay. Um, some of you do have a situation with a Taurus where they're getting ready to leave another relationship or another situation, and maybe they're wanting to talk to you like, look, this is very serious for me. Like, I'm not playing games here. Like, if we're gonna do this, I need to know that you're serious, or I need to know that I'm not gonna leave a situation that later on I'm gonna look over my shoulder and say, well, that situation was better, and now I'm not happy, or now I gave up something really good for something that's not leaving me fulfilled. So I do think they're wanting to know, where you stand and how serious you are about this connection. Like, are you in this ego thing? Are you just trying to like get them back for some reason? Are you seeing them as a challenge? Are you just having fun? Are you just playing games? Because, you might have other things in your life. You may have other options in your life, and they just kind of want to know that, hey, am I going to be the main thing, or are other things going to be coming before me? Like, they might really be wanting to get established here, and they need to make sure that you're on the same page. The thing about Taurus is like really, really serious about family, right? You can do all kinds of things to a Taurus, and people say, oh, Taurus is stubborn, or Taurus holds a grudge, or whatever. But a high vibrational Taurus can get over things. But the one thing you don't want to mess with when it comes to Taurus, you don't want to mess with Taurus's family. You do not want to mess with Taurus's family. They're very, very, very protective of their family. Okay, so that might be another thing that this Taurus is wanting to make sure that you're clear about. If they have children from a previous relationship, they may be letting you know that, hey, I need to know that I come first in your life, but a bit of a catch here, my kids are going to come first in my life, and you need to be okay with that. So you might have a situation like that. Some of you might be talking about starting a family, with Taurus, or they might be asking you how you feel about starting a family, um, about, having kids, not having kids, what the future looks like for you in terms of fulfillment. What does a happy relationship look like for you in terms of fulfillment? That might be a topic or a conversation that's coming up. Some of you who are in business with the Taurus, this Taurus has a lot of ideas, um, or they wanna kind of have everything with you maybe. And this kind of came up with Sagittarius too, so you may be dealing with a Taurus that has Sagittarius in their chart, or but not necessarily. Um, this Taurus might have a lot of ideas of things they're wanting to do with you, right? So they might be very passionate about you. They might be coming in really hot and heavy. They may be wanting to get you into bed, but they also have a lot of other things that they want to accomplish or do with you, like things that bring fulfillment, maybe business ideas, creative projects, places to go, things to do, activities. Like they want to experience life with you. Is what I'm feeling. Okay. Next is, oh my goodness, this is a confirmation if ever I saw one. The Star. Okay, this is a major arcana card, you guys. And so major arcana cards come up when we're at a significant crossroads in our life. This person knows that they're at a crossroads, okay? And they may be seeing you as this like shining light. They might be seeing you as someone where you've overcome a lot of obstacles in your life, and like life could have maybe gone a lot worse for you, but you've pulled out of it. They may be seeing you as a very, very high vibrational person, and you might be inspiring them. Like you're giving them the strength to suit up and put on that armor and to go to, battle, or to go and stand up for themselves, or to fight for themselves. Even if you have a Taurus who's kind of coming at you and confronting you about something, even if you have a Taurus like they're wanting to have a conversation and set down the rules or set down the laws, it's because they think so highly of you. And the Star is about long-term plans. It's about, planning well into retirement, and they just want to know, like, they think so highly of you, they want you so much that they need to know that you all are on the same page, that they're not going to get burnt here. Maybe they've been burnt in the past, especially if you have a Taurus who's coming out of a really toxic situation. They want to make sure you're not the spider, spinning the web, and the second they step foot in it, like they're trapped all of a sudden all over again, right? They want to make sure. So even if they're coming at you with like laying down the law, it's because like they're afraid of getting hurt. They're really into you, they're afraid of getting hurt. But honestly, also another thing I wanted to say with the whole major arcana card, for me in my readings as a reader, anytime I get a major arcana card come up in a reading when I'm reading between people, it tells me there's a very, very significant soulmate connection here. And this applies regardless of if you all are involved romantically, or if you're, checking up on a parent or a sibling or a friend or a business partner. You all have a soul contract together. You met each other for a reason. This person came into your life for a reason. So, Crosswatcher, many of you, one of the main reasons why you've come into this person's life, is to be a light for them, is to be a hope for them. You're kind of like this lighthouse. But this is a piece of advice that I'm hearing to tell you is go easy. I haven't even gotten into the advice portion of the reading, but it's coming up for me to say it now, so I'm gonna say it now. A lot of you are dealing with the Taurus who's coming out of darkness. Okay, a lot of you are dealing with the Taurus who has spent a very long time living a very miserable life, and they just kind of are now realizing that they want to be happy, or that they deserve to be happy, or they have the right to be happy. And so they're just now like, I want to be in the light. Like they're seeing that star, that bright star, right? And they want to be in the light, they want to be in the joy, they want to be in the love. But it's the same if you were sleeping right now, like if you were out sleeping, or if you were just like laying in bed and it was dark at night, and if I came bursting into your room and threw on the lights and started talking all like, excited and chipper. Number one, it would be blinding for you. It would hurt your eyes. Number two, it'd probably scare the crap out of you, right? And so we can be the same way with a person sometimes, especially if you're a light worker or an earth angel or whatever you want to call it, star seed, crystal child, rainbow child, whatever you want to call it. There's so many terms for it. Indigo. Especially if you're somebody who is spiritual in nature or who is here to bring about change and healing on the planet. We can be very overwhelming. We can be very overwhelming. We might see, oh, this person's suffering, and I just want to love them, love them into health. I want to show them that I'm a good person, and I want to show them that they're going to be safe with me. So you shine your light real bright, and they'll pull away, and you're like, oh my goodness, they're afraid, let me shine brighter. Meanwhile, they know how amazing you are, but you're just shining so bright that they need to pull away. They need to distance themselves. So keep shining, but let this person come to you, and go easy on your shine, right? Because they need to adjust their eyes. They need to get comfortable with your light level, right? If they're pulling away, their eyes are adjusting, their eyes are coming into focus, and let them do that, right? Because if you try to shine brighter and shine brighter, they're going to pull away more and more and more, right? You don't want to do that. um oh goodness gracious. So Taurus is headed for the Tower. Lots of major arcana here. We started with the major arcana. We started with the Justice card. We got the Star card, and we got the Tower card. Your Taurus is going to be going through some really big changes, guys. You all need to be patient. You need to be patient with Taurus. Some of you may even need to hold this person's hand. Some of you may be dealing with a Taurus who is going to have to do a lot of grieving, or crying, okay, because they're finally releasing things that they've held on to for a lifetime, right? And they're finally standing up, and they're finally saying that I'm not going to live my life this way. I'm not going to be in this unhappiness. I'm not going to be in this misery. I'm not going to be everybody's, welcome mat or whatever it might be. And so they're going through a really big change. I mean, anytime the Tower card comes up, they're being pushed out of their comfort zone, and they're really, really, they can feel vulnerable. They can feel very confused about what the next step is. You might be very, very tempted to do a lot of questioning or do a lot of asking, like, well, what's coming next? Or what are you doing? Or what are you planning? Or what does this mean for us? You can't, you got to give them time. You got to give them time because they need to process everything that they're going through. Okay, some of you are already with this person, maybe you're already in a relationship with this person, and so they're going through a really big revelation. They might be discovering that the people that they were turning to for help didn't have their best interest in heart, or they may be realizing that they made a decision that wasn't a good decision, and so things may be unraveling. You need to resist. I don't care how angry you are at Taurus. You need to resist the urge to say, I told you so, because Taurus doesn't need to hear that right now. They don't need to hear it right now. It's not doing anybody any favors. Okay? My camera just went blurry. That's so very interesting. Yeah, they don't need to hear that right now. Okay, so just be patient with them. They're going through a really big shift. I do feel like the decision, for whatever reason, that tree is jumping out at me and I'm hearing family. Your Taurus is about to make some decisions or do some things that may cause waves in their family. Okay, so they may be coming out with a really big secret, or they may be making decisions or standing up to certain people, or letting certain people know how they've been hurt by them, or just doing things to get out of a toxic situation where they might not have the support of family. Okay, so they might be grieving that for a time, or they might be feeling a loss in that way, like I'm losing people. And you might be very tempted to say, oh, well, these were horrible people, or they never treated you well, or they got in the way of your happiness, or they didn't care about you. Don't do that, guys. Don't. That's not gonna make it any better. That's not gonna make it any better. One thing that I'm hearing is the cycle of trees, the cycle of trees. So whatever is happening with this Taurus, if they are losing, the support of family, or family is like cutting them off or not talking to them, or like, disowning them in some way. Cycle of trees makes me feel it is temporary. Those leaves are gonna grow back. They're gonna come back around. They're gonna forgive Taurus, and family is important to Taurus. So Taurus will be in connection with them. Taurus will be in communication with them. Taurus will have a relationship with them. So you need to be careful what you say, because you don't want it to be weird later. You don't want it to be awkward later, some of you are dealing with a Taurus who's gonna have some issues with children from a previous relationship. Don't stick your 2 cents in about parenting. Don't stick your 2 cents in about, well, they need to do this or they need to do that, or you need to tell them this or you need to tell them that. This is, for Taurus to figure out. You might be wanting to help Taurus, or you may genuinely feel like this person's family or kids or whatever are like, out of control and they need to be put in their place or whatever, but it's not your place to say. It's not your fight, it's not your battle. Just be on standby, be an understanding ear, be a comforter, and leave it at that, right? It's not your place to tell Taurus how to deal with their family or their kids, or their life or their employer, especially since I do feel a lot of what's going on with Taurus is about like a life lesson in standing up for themselves. So they have to do that. They have to figure out how they're comfortable doing that. And you can just be that star. You can be that bright spot in their life, that place where they feel joy and creativity and comfort and hope. And that's all you got to do. This is not your battle to fight. So let's see what Taurus wants to say to you. What does Taurus want to say to Crosswatcher? What does Taurus want to say to Crosswatcher? All right. They don't know what to say to you right now. They're gonna come with communication soon. Pull one more card here. Okay. So Taurus feels like there's a lot of different ways things can go right now, and they might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Like there's a lot of different possibilities in this situation. Okay. They may feel also like they need to get an understanding of where your focus is, right? They might kind of feel like you're all over the place. Like you're this light and you're very inspiring, but they might not have a real full grasp on, are you grounded? Are you up in the air, or are you here on the earth? How are we going to move forward? They might be confused about what your expectations are of them. They might be a little bit confused about what to do, especially those of them who are going through that tower moment. They might not be sure what's next. Okay, they may not be sure what's next, and so they may be needing you to be precious with them. They may be needing you to be patient with them. The thing about the hangman, again, is gonna be, energy here having to do with seeing things from a different angle. So maybe they're wanting you to be a little understanding about their situation, and why they're not taking the road or the option that you think might be best. Like, you might be very tempted to tell them, here's what you need to do. It's simple, right? It's not so simple. So they're wanting you to be understanding and to have a little bit of an open mind, okay? A little bit of an open mind about how to move forward. I also think this person is trying to figure out what they want with you in terms of, remember how I was saying with that 10 of cups, like for some of you it's like, are we going to have a family, are we not going to have a family, are we going to, what are we going to do for fulfillment, or what are some things that we're going to do together. So they might also be trying to figure out within themselves what they want. They know that they want you in their life. They know that they want to get out of the toxic energies and the toxic stuff, but they're still figuring out themselves how they want to move forward. Okay, so they're still figuring out for themselves, what they're going to be doing, as far as like commitment things, when it comes to commitment, right? That's also why you might be very tempted to ask this person, oh, what does this mean for us, or what are we. This person knows that they want you in their life, but I think they're still trying to figure out, like, what do they want to do. Do they want to, jump into another marriage? Do they want to, like, jump into living with somebody? Do they want to live alone for a while? Do they want to, have separate bank accounts? Do they want to travel? Do they want to stay put? Do they want to have kids? Do they not want to have kids? Do they want to invest? Do they not want to invest, if it's like a business situation? So they're trying to figure out. They're like, they're trying to put everything into focus, okay? But this is the thing. It's like, once they figure it out, they're going to let you know, and they're going to want to move forward. They're going to want to take action quickly. Okay? So I think what they're trying to let you know is, there's a lot on my mind. Okay? I know what I want to make happen mostly, right? But I'm figuring out the last little final details. I'm like perfecting the plan. I'm perfecting what I want. And once it's all clear and once it's all together, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let you know. But again, this is something that they're having to do on their own. I also feel that um, there's a lot of things that Taurus maybe has told you in the past that they want to clarify. Okay, because Page of Swords for me is the speaking the truth card. Okay, so they might have certain things that they want to clarify, or there's things that you have told them that they're confused by and they want you to clarify. But there's definitely communication here, and they're trying to figure out right now the best way to have these conversations. I feel, again, some of you, Taurus does want to confront you or ask you about certain things, but they're being very cautious how to do it because they don't want to like mess up the relationship with you, or to upset you, or to offend you. But there's things they're wanting to confront, or there's things they're wanting to know, because they feel a little threatened. They feel vulnerable right now. They might feel like, a little paranoid. Like, why are you being so nice to me? Or why are you giving me this chance? Or what do you think you're gonna get out of me? Like, there's still that paranoid part of them. Like, they want you so much, or they want this connection so much, or this arrangement so much, that they have this fear that, oh, it could be too good to be true. So they're wanting to get at the bottom of it, but they're trying to figure out the best way to do that. All right, so let's see, what is it going to be? What can you do to help Taurus? What can Crosswatcher do to help Taurus? What can Crosswatcher do to help Taurus? What can Crosswatcher do to help Taurus? Stay focused. Okay, stay focused and just move past any of the previous issues. Okay, don't dwell on them. Don't bring up the past. Continue to move forward. I think Taurus is also really needing to know that they're gonna be with a partner right now that has a certain degree of independence. They might be coming out of something very codependent. And so they might just want to know that, you're going to be good and you're going to be strong on your own, regardless of what happens between the two of you. Um, Balancing out your own light and your own dark. Remember, that just jumped out at me. I talked about not being, too bright of a light, right? So maybe, you might have a lot of desire to help. You may have a lot of desire to lead them, but you just keep doing your thing. You just keep living your best life, and following your guidance is going to inspire them to do the same, right? Don't feel like you have to pull them up onto your chariot. Don't feel like you have to carry them. You just keep doing you keep working on your stuff, and let Taurus open up as they're ready to open up. Let Taurus come to you with what they want to come to you when they're ready to come to you. Okay, but you just keep moving forward. I also feel, and this isn't typically a message that comes up with the Chariot card, but I read intuitively. For those of you who follow my readings and that there'll be certain things or certain pictures in the card that jump out at me, and that yin yang is jumping out at me. So I feel like Taurus is also going to be opening up to you, or telling you certain aspects about themselves or their life, and they're needing you to not be judgmental about it. Okay? Don't look at it as good and bad. Like, just be open-minded and hear them out, because there could be certain aspects about this connection where you're really being challenged to expand your thinking or expand your views on certain situations. So they may be telling you some things, like some confessional type things about their past, or like things that they've been through, or things that they've done, or things that you know whatever it might be. Just try to hear them out open-mindedly, without trying to see things are good or bad. Or even with people in their life, especially those of you who are dealing with Taurus who's coming out of a toxic situation. Try not to see the people in their life as good and bad, right? Just be balanced in your responses to whatever's going on. Don't get enraged. Don't react in an overly emotional way. And just you keep focusing on you. Don't allow what's going on with Taurus or Taurus's friends or Taurus's family to distract you from what you're working on, because a lot of you cross watchers are coming into a time of really big success, and so you need to establish that, because that's also going to be helpful to where, like, Taurus can be inspired by what you're doing and come into their own success. And it can really kind of spring you both into, like, maybe it feels like things aren't moving ahead, but then all of a sudden, because you had your success coming in, and it's going to inspire them to come into their success, you guys are going to be able to springboard in a short period of time into having the kind of relationship that maybe you're wanting, or that you're hoping for, or getting a place together, or starting a business together, or getting married, or whatever it might be. Whatever it's gonna be, whatever it's meant to be, it's gonna springboard you into that more quickly. Temperance. A lot of major arcana cards, guys. Crosswatcher, you and Taurus have this really, really cosmic connection. It's intense. Like, I would say lifetimes and lifetimes you all have known each other. It's an intense connection. Temperance is, you got to be patient with this person. You got to give and take. You might be very independent. You might know what you want to do. Some of you are having to learn from this Taurus. This Taurus is also going to teach you to be balanced, and to be open to allowing somebody to step in and to give their ideas or their direction or their guidance, right? So balancing out, who's doing the driving when, taking turns doing the driving, but also being open to their suggestions and ideas, and being patient with them as they're going through these changes. You might get frustrated because you're like, oh my goodness, you're like buried in crap, you're like buried in doo doo, and here's your chance to get out of it, and you don't, and you just want to stay in it, right? They don't want to stay in the crap, they don't want to stay in the unpleasantness, they don't want to stay with people who are inflicting pain upon them. But when you've been chained up for so long, like, it's scary to leave that. That's why you can see people who are like, in an abusive relationship. Sometimes it takes those people a very long time to leave because they're afraid, they're scared, or it's all they've known. So you're gonna have to be patient, and you're gonna have to let Taurus do it their way. Like, be there for them, be a listening ear, be a helping hand if they ask you to be a helping hand, but you gotta be patient and let them do it their way. The Lovers, all these major arcana cards. All these major arcana cards, my darlings. They're wanting you to make a decision, and they're wanting you to choose them. So I think this is a case for many of you cross watchers where they say, you know, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. You're going to get what you're asking for, but you need to be sure. You need to be sure. I think this Taurus is going through a lot to be with you, and so they need to know, or to work with you, or whatever it may be. They need to know that you're going to be committed to this, that you're not, that you're sure, that this isn't like a willy-nilly thing, that you're not like, taking this not lightly, or just like, okay, well, I guess I'll try this out. They don't want to feel like there's some option that you're testing out. They're wanting you to make some decisions, or some big decision, moving forward. Okay, so um they want to know. They want to know that you're ready to make this decision, or that you're ready to choose them, or that you're ready to choose love. Because you might also be very busy with things that make you successful, or you might be very busy with family, or you may have other obligations. Once again, they want to know that you're choosing them, that you're choosing to be with them, and that you're going into this like also feeling this is a soulmate connection. I do feel some of you are dealing with a Taurus who maybe is a little bit insecure, so like they really need to know that you do it for them, right? That they're the one that they do it for you, and that you're not looking at anybody else. I think they just want to have a conversation with you about what your expectations are, what you want, what you're doing. Is there anybody else in your life, or are you considering other options, whether it's people or not, whatever it might be. I think they're wanting you to just be sure and to pick them. King of Rods, passion. I would say allow Taurus to take the lead in what may be going on with you guys, and how fast to move forward, or how to move forward. This may be kind of like a non-negotiable aspect for them, where things are gonna have to go at their pace. Um, and it could also be where you're dealing with a Taurus that has a very high like physical drive, or that they might be wanting a lot from you, um physically, right? So maybe that they're wanting you to be respectful of that, or to know that, to be clear about that before going into this relationship. Like, I think they're wanting to know if you can handle them. So I think they just want you also to have courage, and to know that this might not be an easy road to be with them, but they're wanting like to step up, and for some reason like they want to be a protector for you. Okay, so maybe just kind of like they want you to be patient, they want you to be loyal, they want you to be brave, and they want you to trust that they're taking a handle of the situation. You got Four of Pentacles. Don't shut Taurus out. don't shut Taurus out. This may be a good time for you to, figure out what your boundaries are and to have healthy boundaries. But don't be stingy with Taurus either. Uh, I feel like I don't know. This is very interesting. I don't know why. Again, I read intuitively, and I'm looking at this card for why is this card here. Oh gosh, you guys. The shoes jumped out at me, and the pentacles jumped out at me, and the shoes made me think of like a pilgrim, right? And pentacles. Some people think pentacles are bad. Um, you're gonna have to balance your beliefs with this Taurus. And I think again this is another way of maybe not being too defensive. Okay. They may have some beliefs that are very deeply ingrained, right? So don't be so defensive. They might not seem like a religious person, but they may be coming at you with like, well, this is how it should be, or this is how the relationship's gonna be in terms of like ethics or morals. And you might be like, well, okay, horny pants, like how are you gonna talk about ethics and morals with me? But um I guess just hear them out, be open to what they're saying to you. I think there might be some balance that you all are gonna have to do, especially if you're watching tarot readings right now. It's safe to say you are into the mystical. It's safe to say you're open minded about the metaphysical. But this could be somebody that maybe needs to understand this more, or is going to have certain things that they're comfortable with and certain things that they're not comfortable with. So there could be some give and take that's happening there as well. Okay, but overall, I feel like you and this Taurus have come into each other's lives because you're expanding each other's thinking. So they might not understand a lot about what you're doing, but you got to be patient with them. Don't be defensive and be like, "Oh, well, you're narrow-minded or you're stupid or you're this or you're that." Don't get upset about it, but be willing to have a discussion, be willing to have a conversation, be willing to explain or discuss without getting defensive or without getting angry about what your beliefs may be. Okay, my dears. So I thank you so much for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. If you want to watch your Taurus's moon sign or rising sign videos for additional cross watcher messages, feel free to do so. Because we all have different degrees of where our sun sign is at, so sometimes that can be helpful as well. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Sending you lots of love. The love readings for May are going to be up in a few days for all the zodiac signs, and then I'm going to have the weekly forecasts up soon, hopefully all by Sunday evening, but by Monday morning the latest for sure. And then also, my dears, I will do another cross watch video series mid month of May. So this will probably go from end of April to mid May, and